There are 195 recognized countries on Earth today, and almost all of them maintain advanced militaries. Yet when we look at who actually holds the world's most destructive technology, that list is shrunk to a mere 10 nations. Back in 1945, the United States intended to keep that number at exactly 1. They had poured 1% of their entire national GDP into the Manhattan Project, assuming the technology was too expensive and too complex for any other nation to replicate. Looking at the scale of destruction leveled on Japanese cities, American leadership concluded they possessed a world-ending capability. The plan was to lock the science in a vault and maintain a permanent, classified monopoly. But the vault wasn't secure. Within years, the secrets of the atom were stolen, leaked across borders, and traded in backroom deals. The American monopoly was gone almost as soon as it began. Looking at these 10 nations, we see a pattern beyond mere scientific curiosity. Every new arsenal followed a specific friction, a theft, a rivalry, or a broken alliance, making each bomb a catalyst for the one that followed. That reaction started with fear and espionage. When the Soviet Union noticed American and British scientists had suddenly stopped publishing papers on nuclear fission, they suspected a weapons program. Moscow responded by planting double agents deep inside the Manhattan Project to steal American blueprints. Using those stolen designs, the Soviets moved at a pace the West thought impossible. In 1949, they successfully detonated their own device in Kazakhstan, shattering the American sense of security. Washington reacted to the loss of their monopoly by turning on their own allies. They immediately broke the Quebec Agreement, a wartime promise to share nuclear research with the United Kingdom, and locked down all remaining data. The British, feeling abandoned and suddenly exposed to Soviet threats, resumed their own program. Leveraging their existing research and control over global uranium supplies, the UK joined the nuclear club in 1952. In 1956, the Suez Crisis taught France a similar lesson. When the Soviet Union threatened nuclear strikes against French forces and the United States refused to intervene, Paris realized they could no longer rely on an ally's weapons for protection. President Charles de Gaulle insisted that absolute national sovereignty required strategic independence. France sourced uranium from its African colonies and developed its own bomb, conducting its first test in the Sahara in 1960. In just 15 years, the count had risen from 1 to 4. These early arsenals weren't built for global domination, but as a response to paranoia, to broken promises, and a desperate need for self-reliance. The reaction then spread to the east. The Soviet Union initially offered to help China build a bomb, but a political rift between the two communist powers led Moscow to suddenly withdraw all its scientists and technical help. China responded by mining its own uranium and finishing the project alone. In 1964, they detonated their first bomb, a direct challenge to Moscow's authority and a warning to the West. China's success sparked panic in neighboring India. Just 2 years earlier, India had lost a brutal border war to Chinese forces in the Himalayas. Now, their rival held the ultimate deterrent. India adopted a deceptive strategy. They used nuclear reactors provided by Canada and the US for peaceful energy to instead develop weaponized material. In 1974, they detonated the Smiling Buddha device in the Rajasthan desert. India's test signaled that nuclear technology was no longer the exclusive property of global superpowers. It had become a tool for settling regional blood feuds. Facing an existential threat from India, Pakistan's leadership vowed to eat grass or leaves if it meant acquiring their own bomb for survival. A scientist named A.Q. Khan accelerated the effort by stealing classified uranium enrichment blueprints from a Dutch facility. His work provided the foundation for Pakistan's nuclear capabilities. During this same era, 2 other outcasts formed a secret alliance. An embattled Israel and a politically isolated South Africa traded raw uranium for advanced weapons technology in total secrecy. This cooperation likely led to the 1979 Vela incident, where a U.S. satellite detected a double flash of light over the Indian Ocean, the signature of a clandestine nuclear test. A.Q. Khan eventually turned his stolen knowledge into a business, selling nuclear blueprints on the black market to other nations seeking a shortcut to the bomb. North Korea utilized these black market designs and its own uranium deposits to build an arsenal. For the Kim regime, the bomb was the only way to ensure their survival against a hostile world.
The pathway to the bomb had evolved from a massive national effort, costing billions, into a shadowy network of stolen blueprints and proxy alliances. Of all nations that joined this list, only South Africa has ever voluntarily dismantled its arsenal. For the other 9, these weapons remain the core of their national security. While some warheads sit in silos, many nations now favor stealth submarines patrolling the ocean depths. These vessels can retaliate from almost any location, making true security impossible to verify. The chain reaction is merely on pause. As Iran moves closer to nuclear capability, rivals like Saudi Arabia have already stated that they will immediately follow suit. The history of these 10 states suggests that engineering the bomb was the straightforward part. The real challenge has been the persistent failure to convince a rival that they can survive without one.